Hello,
Hello.
welcome to the Crafty View. I'm Diane Williams, the host for today's show, and we're excited. We have Randy Walker here with us, and he works with wire. Hi, Randy, how are you?
I'm great, Diane. Good to see you again.
Good to see you. I've heard so much about your work, and I'm almost thinking I remember when you became a member of the Craftsmen's Guild of Mississippi. How long has it been?
Well, I would say probably about at least 12 years. I'm a fellow member, so however long that takes, I think that's 9 years. So maybe 12 to 15 years.
Okay, I do think I remember your art in the very beginning. And tell me, what did you start out doing? What kind of imagery designs did you create?
Well, thinking back, it's all been wire jewelry. And of course, it's evolved through time to in many different designs and forms.
Okay, wonderful. So you make jewelry, and what got you started doing that?
Well, I worked in the corporate world for about 20 plus years. And as that downsized, I had two later in life children and needed something to supplement the income. So I had a friend that made wire jewelry who I asked to show me how it was done. And I found I had a knack for it. So we did a couple shows. I remember my first show, I think I made $200 or something. I thought I had arrived. I found something to make money, and it's just gone from there. As I bumped that up and increased my shows that I did, and found some better ones, of course, and we travel around and take the kids and just made a life of it. And we call ourselves carnies. So we carnival workers, So we travel around and go to different shows. Years passed, and I had numerous vendors, merchants ask me to put work in their studio, in their stores and galleries and things. And so I did that. I didn't want to wholesale for quite some time, but I did. I started that. So in the slow seasons when there's no shows, like in the summer, it's too hot in Mississippi. We just don't do outside well when it's above 100. So it's good to have merchants and galleries to carry your products and to sell those for you.
It really is. And that's amazing that there's been times when they asked you and you didn't necessarily ask them, but that's because they've seen your work. Is that right? And wanted to represent.
Right. And I would think they probably had gone to arts and crafts shows or heard by word of mouth. There's a whole network, it seems, of merchants who have friends that are merchants. And so they call them up and say, hey, this is the hottest new thing. You need to try this. And so that's how they all end up with the same things, I guess, and reaching out. But I've always been blessed that's how it's worked. I really haven't knocked on many doors, and well, maybe in the beginning I did do that and crashed in on people and had some trunk shows impromptu.
Nice.
Back in the day.
Okay. And do you make jewelry for just women, or do you make jewelry for men and women?
I basically make jewelry for women. On special requests, I do make man jewelry, I call it. But yes, I have. Let me see. I just made one. Believe it or not, wanted a pinky ring. So get ready for this.
Oh, wow.
So that's a man jewelry piece. Because it's bulkier and larger, and that was a special order. But basically, I just do jewelry for women.
And let's take a look at a few of your designs to get an idea of who Randy Walker is as a craftsperson.
Okay, and I'll start by this. This is how it starts out. Strands of wire. And all I use, I travel light, pliers and wire clippers. So these have been many miles of wire and have been good tools for me. Let's see. I make everything from small, narrow ones, wider serpentine. See, each, and that wire is twisted. So with the wire, I have my handy dandy cordless drill, and it twists this wire and makes this milligrain pattern. So that's always good.
So that's how you get it so perfect, using a drill. And how does the drill hold the wire in place to twist it? Talk to us while you're working so you can show
Okay.
the screen.
All right. Well, let me do this again in case you saw it. I just put the wire in a drill. Of course, for smaller pieces, let me see. In my handy dandy kit over here, I started out with this. How manual is this? It's called a pin vise, and you put it on there, and you can turn the wire. But you know, work smarter, not harder, right? So I got the battery operated, but that's, oops. Can you see?
I am fascinated by this.
Yes, so see, before and after. Can you see them okay?
Yes, I hope the audience can see that. You'll have to talk to show up on the screen.
Oh, okay. All right, see, this is before and this is after. So I twist it and make a design. And that's how this design is made, the twisted design on here. So as time passed by, I started making other different things. I had people, elderly ladies, or should I say women, mature women who couldn't wear their rings anymore because their knuckles had swollen, and that's a common thing. So they had jewelry that were sentimental, that were a gift from a loved one or something, that they wanted something to do if they couldn't wear their rings. So then what I started doing was, see, that's a ring, and I put it in a bracelet. I don't know that you can really see that so well, but let's try.
That is fabulous.
And so as time went by, I just came up with more and more different designs. So these, someone had a strand of pearls. So these are tinier pearls, but see, I made a cross with it. I make many different designs, some with a single row, some with 5 rows, some, you know, just whatever creative I feel like doing at the time. But then started developing pieces that I would create with. Let's see.
Right there.
Okay. And so instead of a pearl in between each one, I would put a little piece that I designed in between each one. And so making different jewelry like that.
Your work is very original, And coming from someone who worked in corporate America, I'm just fascinated that you are such a creative person. So is there something in your background, maybe your mother, your aunt, or someone that helped to develop the creativity in you?
Well, what I've always said is my dad can make anything, and he taught us how to build anything, work on anything. And he was well known for jumping hobbies from whittling, woodwork, leathercraft. He would braid leather. Numerous different farming things he did, which all helped mold me, I guess, to do those things and be able to, which I'm grateful for, especially, well, I didn't like it so much growing up, being slave labor is what I've said, but he said, why do you think we have children? So, it taught me valuable life lessons and work ethic. And so that's a big thing that you need as an artist also is, sure, you're on your own schedule. Sure, you can do whatever, but when the time comes, you have to be able to discipline yourself to work and to provide for your family. And this was a way I could do it. So as I downsized from corporate America and built the business, and it seemed to be a popular time for wire jewelry, and traveled all around. It was an educational process for mainstream America because maybe in the 70s wire jewelry was popular, but it declined some. So it made a big comeback. And so let me see what else I have to show. Maybe just this might be a piece that was just completely wire, and that's what most people would make. That's why it was, of course, I'm sure I'm not the first one, but I'll take a little credit in the fact that I started using estate and antique pieces to incorporate in my work, and made that niche to where when someone sees a piece of jewelry, they say, oh, that's Randy Walker. In fact, I had a person in the guild that told me that years ago when I first started. You know you have arrived when someone can see a piece that you made and attach your name to it. And I'm like, that'll never happen. I mean, there's jewelry on every corner and every website, and so that'll never happen. But I remember a customer told me one time they were sitting in the Grove at Ole Miss at a ball game, tailgating, and they all sat around. There were about 8 of them showing off their jewelry by Randy on their arms and what pieces were made. And so that flattered me and made me grateful that, I'm not saying this to boast, but that they could afford to wear any piece of jewelry, platinum and diamonds, yet they chose to wear jewelry by Randy on their arm.
That is a wonderful story. So you mentioned that you use estate jewelry sometimes. Do you go out looking for that sometimes, or you just wait for a customer to come and commission you to do a piece?
I do both. I actually do both. Always on the lookout for interesting, nice pieces and one-of-a-kind things. And I scour the internet, estate sales. I have people that scout for me to find things. And so it's a treasure hunt. And here's a good story is I do shows, and if I'm a repeat vendor there, and I've made a piece for someone, or they bought a piece from me, and they find out that I do take their personal pieces to make something with, the next show, the next year, they'll bring a box of things. This was my mother's, and we dump it out, and it's like playing Antique Roadshow. So we look through all their pieces, and I pick out half a dozen and tell them what designs we can make, and they're just elated to wear things that was mother's or grandmother's. And not only is it a nice piece of jewelry, it's a sentimental item. And as my grandmother said, all you got in this cold world is your family. So hold them close.
That is wonderful. Can you give us a visual of what it's like? If you can describe for us, when we come to your booth, what do you do to set up your booth? You know, that's a big deal.
Booth setup is crucial, and it has also evolved through time. It depends on the show and how easy to set up and if it's indoors or outdoors. But having jewelry and some pieces that are expensive, security is always a concern. So there are very few shows where we just put tables out and display it that way. At one time we had glass cubes, and I built this monstrosity of a thing, and that took 2 hours. And I'm like, and it's heavy, you know, heavy, whatever glass, it doesn't shatter anyway.
Plexiglass?
No, we tried plexiglass too. It scratches. I wouldn't.
Okay.
I know people that use it, but you have to be so careful. And if you use it outdoors, then the dust gets on it and scratches it when you try to clean it off. So I can't think of the name of the glass, but it's got a plastic film in the middle and kind of like a windshield. When it cracks, it just makes little pieces. It doesn't make long pieces where you could get cut. So then I had some cases custom built. They're big cabinets. They look, I would say, more like a dresser. They're decorative wood, and then have a regular jewelry case on top, long rectangular, and I have LED lights inside. So
That's important.
yes, and they're on casters. So I wheel it in. Some shows, the jewelry I already have set up. I wheel it in, straighten it up, plug the lights in, and we're in business.
Nice. Okay. And how is that in transporting those cases? Do they?
Well, that's the downside to that is they're 6 feet long each, and I have a trailer. So I had to make that decision just how deeply I wanted to get into this. So I have I think it's 10-foot trailer that I pull behind my truck and just roll them out. But again, you have to weigh out the situation. How deeply are you going to get into this hobby or job? And how can you work smarter, not harder? And how do you want your display to look? I mean, even now we struggle different times at how to set it up, or do we want to use those big cases? And what's the way to make a good display?
And you know what's important sometimes? I'm thinking of places like the Kentuck Festival or even Chimneyville, the Craftsmen's Guild annual show. Oftentimes they will have prizes and ribbons and prizes, monetary prizes for booth setup. So I wanted to talk about that so that someone just starting in the business would understand. And it's nothing better than winning a prize, a monetary prize, just because of the way you set your booth up to entice customers. And then if you make sales on top of that, how fabulous is that?
That is true. And also there are best in show prizes, and I've been blessed to receive those a couple times in different first, second, and third in different shows. So yes, prize money is always good. Found a few more. I'll try to show.
Those are all fabulous. You could do a fashion show with just your jewelry. Look, you have to talk to get back on the screen.
Oh, okay. And I learned sometimes to make jewelry and give them a name. This is called BFF, best friends forever, BFF. See, and the saying that goes with that, my daughter learned in Girl Scouts: make new friends, but keep the old. One is silver, the other's gold. So there's an old cartoon that says, you've got to have a gimmick. So, yes. This is a funny one. There's a story with this. It was a knee brace, and this was the support in the knee brace. So I made it really because it was kind of decorative. It's stainless steel, but I made it because it's a conversation piece.
You've got a good eye for things and a good imagination.
I say, never throw anything away. Does that make me a pack rat? But here's some with pearls in them. This middle one I made, and our prior governor's wife wore this one. I named it after her, Deborah, and she wore that thing out. So she wore it quite a bit, and it was always fun to see celebrities wear my designs. My claim to fame was, I have the Mississippi Cotton Bowl. It's pearls, and so we know we don't have. Well, cotton is in Mississippi, so it's just a little thing. But my claim to fame there, I don't know if you remember Duck Dynasty, but I sent Miss K a cotton ball earrings and necklace, and she made a cookbook. And on the cover of her cookbook, she's wearing the necklace. So I thought that was another celebrity thing. So
Those all fabulous stories, and each one of your designs is unique. And I think everybody I know personally, I want them to look at this show because those pearl bracelets are divine.
Well, thank you.
Yeah.
And the thing is too, and what I tell many customers is, if you have a strand of pearls that broke, you may not have them all, you may only have a few, we can make earrings for you, or I can take your own pearls and I can make jewelry with your items. So in the bottom of that jewelry box or that drawer, you've got all kind of junk that you wouldn't throw away because it's sentimental, or you just can't, you think they may be worth something and that want to use them. So that's what I have done, is turn your broken or valuable items and rework them. Sometimes it's jewelry that's still in great shape, but they may not wear them. Like bar pins are really beautiful, and women just don't wear pins anymore for the most part. So I've made barrettes, I've made necklaces, pendants, I've made bracelets. Were very popular with grandma's platinum and diamond bar pin. So
Wow.
That's been really good to do.
Would you ever do a tiara? You know, everybody's into this Miss Tennessee, Miss Mississippi, and all of those kinds of things. Miss Teen.
Well, it's funny that you would say that. They do take a long time, and I have made a couple of them. My oldest daughter, it's been, well, 17 years maybe that she married, but I made her one. I looked at Princess Diana's tiara, and I made her one, all CZs in sterling silver, and it was a showpiece for sure. But yes, I have made those.
That is fabulous. Now, I know you talked about people that were in a group and they all had on a Randy Walker, but do you have, and I think I would be able to identify your work, you know, but do you ever put any type of signature or insignia on your designs?
I have at times, some I engrave on the inside, and I do engrave these days. Some I put a little hang tag that has RW on it. So that helps set it apart. But see, like this one, I can on the inside, because it's one solid piece, I can engrave on that. But wires like these, you really can't engrave on it. So I would hang a little hang tag on there with the RW on it. But for the most part, I really don't.
Okay. Okay.
Here's one I made as a mother's bracelet, which is most popular around Mother's Day, but many new mothers get them. And as they have children, I add another stone to it. And so it becomes a keepsake. Grandmothers sometimes have a whole line of birthstones around there, and they know who each one belongs to.
So earlier you were over at the Craftsmen's Guild today. Were you taking some of your artwork over there?
I did take some over there.
So
I did a custom piece for a volunteer that was there. So I took that and got it for her. Can you tell what that one is?
that's the state of Mississippi. And is that cotton or magnolia?
It's a cotton bowl.
Cotton bowl.
And I do have a whole line of Mississippi themed jewelry.
Okay.
And that can all be seen on my website, www.jewelrybyrandy.com. And click on Mississippi Collection. And there's a whole list of Mississippi themed jewelry, which many of us are proud of our state and our roots here in Mississippi. So made lots of things. Let me see. We have one up here that, oh, I don't. But it was a piece. Oh, I do. Just this one to me is a little rough. It's very inexpensive, and the name of it is Pick Your Switch. Now, if you're of age, you remember the days when your mama said, "Go pick you a switch." And this is what you would bring in, a little switch like this, because you didn't think it hurt. But when that wrapped around your legs and then popped, you knew it then. So it's a memory thing, you know. Many people can remember that and will go around and tell that story with their bracelet.
Yes. Do you make the clasp as well?
Yeah, I do. Well, see, this clasp is just the wire bent around in a circle. There are different clasps depending on the style of the bracelet, but this clasp is hinged, which is good because it'll never break. Where many wire jewelry artists just make them where like this, and through time, and not taking good care of it, those wires will break.
That's an incredible heart.
See, it's actually not my design. I used it to make this, but it's angel wings. So that made a good bracelet.
Fabulous. Do you have any other pieces you want to show us?
This seems to be a popular one. And for those who like bling, a lot of my bracelets I've named after ladies who have meant something to me and invested into my life. This one is called Mary Frances. She was a sweet lady, and she was a good customer. She loved some flashy jewelry, so I made one for her, and it's been a popular one.
Well, this has been great. Tell us that website again. And by the way, can we get in touch with you through the information on your website?
Yes, there is a. Is that backwards? Shows backwards to me.
No, that's fine.
www.jewelrybyrandy.com. And this piece on my card, this is my business card, it was a watch. I do it like this, you know, the watch like mom or grandma wore with the black cord. I took the movement out and put a gemstone in it and then made a bracelet for it. So again, it's one of those pieces that you have stuck in that drawer that you can't stand to throw away, but it'll make a beautiful piece of jewelry.
This has been wonderful, Randy. Do you have any final words for our viewers?
I don't. I say too many people practice, practice, practice. If you want to, I guess that's with any craft you want to do, or it's just like the Olympics. You don't jump in and win. You have to practice. You have to work at it. And again, it goes back to work ethic and determination. And I think for everybody out there, and speaking for the Craftsmen's Guild, if you're arts and craftsy, pick you a craft and learn to do it. You can do this. It just takes practice. Don't get discouraged.
Thank you so much. We appreciate it.
All right. Thank you. It was good to see you again.